that you listen to all the words, because I feel like at some point in everybody's life, you feel like this. Lord, I'm split in two. Part of me loves the world and the other loves you. So what do? I wanna be saved, but I gotta stay cool too. And no, I'm not a fool. I know eventually I'm gonna have to choose. And really, I don't wanna lose my ticket into heaven and a chance to be used by you. And if it's God that I'm after, I just can't serve two masters.
In order for you to have purpose, you have to have a vision of where you want to be. And I think you have to find somebody who looks like what you want to look like. So if you look at, Deacon Mitchell, who is a businessman who's successful, you want to be able to find out how did Deacon Mitchell get there? Deacon Mitchell, can I talk to you? Can you tell me what you did to get to your place in life? You have a family, you have children. I see that you obviously have done something right. How did you get there? So I think it's important for all of you to think about what it is you want in life, what it is you desire in terms of your purpose, how to carry that out. Find somebody who looks like what you want to be. So it can be almost like a mentor. Someone who looks the way that you want to look. And my greatest mentor was my dad. Because my dad was a man who I saw model what I wanted to be, someone taking care of his family. My dad didn't have a college education as I do, but my dad provided for us. I never looked at any other man higher than my dad. But if you don't have your father around or close, I think you have to look for someone who looks the way you want to be in life.
For us as young men, getting exposed to a lot of things helps us to understand what our purpose is in life even more, because oftentimes I found out that the lack of growth stems from the lack of exposure. So because a group of people are not exposed to stuff outside of Richmond and Oakland and different things like that, they really don't know what's really out there. So I would say the first thing to get more exposure as a young man, and also to really know who you are first, because I think one of the key elements to finding your purpose is knowing who you are, what you like to do, what you're able to do, the abilities that you have. And I think that God matches our abilities with our purpose. God will never have your purpose to be something that you can't do. My purpose is not to be a praise and worship leader because I can't sing, right? So God, just finding out what it is that me as man, what do I like to do? What are my interests? Different things of that sort. And I think that is a key element into going towards your purpose.
So in finding my vision and finding my purpose, what if my vision and my purpose and my exposure is limited? Whose job is it to really get me there, to help me get there? Is there any supporting areas in life, of support system that you all can, that anyone in here can recommend on how do I get there when I really don't know, I'm not exposed, I really don't know what to look for. So is there any kind of recommendation?
We all have somebody that we look up to and admire. And if we don't know the direction that we want to go or we need help, we should be able to get information from that individual. It's not steer us in the right direction.
Okay.
I grew up in Hunts Point, San Francisco, dead together in the projects. And people that I looked up to, because my father died when I was 5, and at 7, my next door neighbor, he was about 4 years older than me. He was the guy I looked up to. He was 11, he could fight, nobody messed with him. He used to take me to the ball games and stuff. So as we got older, he was who I looked up to. Everybody thought I was his little brother, although we lived right next door. And the thing is that when he got to be 18, I was 14. He got off into drugs, I went right over that cliff with him because he was who I looked up to. He was the one I focused on. I wanted to be like him, so unless you have somebody. Now, there were no immediate men in my household for me to look up to. I had some cousins, some older cousins, my mom's age. All the ones that were my age were going through the same thing I was going through. So you have to have some type of foundation, or you have to be able to find somebody to look up to. I didn't know, what's the word I'm trying to find? I didn't know to look out. There were people at the boys club. You know, I worked at the boys club for a little while. I got to be about 12. But it was already inbred in me that I wanted to be like this guy. You know, because he's the one, he was my idol. He's the one I looked up to. I wanted to be just like him. You know, my mannerism was like him. I didn't let nobody mess with him, with me, you know, like him. And I just got to that mentality. And I wanted the girls like he had. Didn't get them, but I wanted them. So we have to be able to find somewhere. And I think the church is a good place to start for the kids.
I grew up in the church, had role models in the church, but also lived in the neighborhood. So I had a dual set of role models. I had men that were working, that was doing right, and was taking care of their family. I also had friends and men who were selling drugs and had the big cars and all that. And so there was the struggle within myself of, you know, on Sunday I'm, hey bro, do some hey, and then on Monday I had the homeboys and I would hide from my parents to make sure that the timing was right. So, you know, within you, there is the flesh and then there's the spirit. I guess we'll just tear it up like that. But you tend to sway both ways because the opportunity exists. Fast money exists, and then you see Deacon Brock go to work for 40 years. You say, man, I don't want to take all that time to get where I'm trying to get. But that's the road best traveled because we know the other road is short-lived. But the struggle, like Deacon Fred was saying, having role models on both ends of the stick is probably what a lot of us struggle with now. We do have those relationships that exist, that they will throw a rope to you in a heartbeat, you know what I'm saying, to pull you back to the other side. But yeah, that was a struggle for me growing up in my early 20s, was having a dual set of role models.
Let me ask you a question. Do you feel that there are people in your life right now, whether it's in the church or outside, that are approachable enough for you to talk to about where you want to go in your life? If there's ever been a challenge with that, what was the challenge? What did you feel the challenge was? Trying to find someone to talk to about where you want to go in life, what your vision is, what your future is. Trust. So trust. Why? Why did you feel there was an issue of trust?
Do I trust this person about to come and talk to him?
Okay. Wow.
How many of you know where you want to go or what you want to be in life?
You had your hand up, young man.
I want to be a basketball player.
You want to be a basketball player? Okay. All right.
I can be biblical and I can read because I know the word of God. But those who was trained up by a male figure, he said, as a certain age, go get all that you can get. Go and get all that. Hey, they gave you because they said that you are a man. There ain't no punk. But today, no neighbor down the street, we ain't have no punks in our family. So there came a time, how many of y'all had the sex talk, the girls and the bees? I ain't had it yet. I ain't had it yet. But what I'm saying is, there were men that said, go get it. Go get it. And if it comes at you, go for it, because if you don't get it, they gonna call you what? A punk. I threw it open. He ran away. Come on, people. I was willingly giving it to you, and you turned around and said, "What's no?" So now my name is what? Punk. You might want to talk. Tell the truth. But what ends up happening is, as we began to get older, no one came back to correct you. It's just like going in a direction for so long that all of a sudden the lights come on. They never told you. Every time you slept around with a woman, that woman went with you even though they wasn't around. We all could be in the room and say this. If you slept outside of marriage or before you got married every now and then she'll creep up in your mind.
That's real.
And the first thing you just simply say, ooh, that's real. Even though she ain't around, and we ain't got no kids together, you're always gonna be with a vision and a memory that's gonna pop back up because of the foreskin that laid down. Nobody never told us that.
As they both said was powerful because one thing we have to remember is, and without getting graphic is, women are receivers. And we plant something when we join together with them sexually. And some of us wonder why we can't shake a woman that we used to mess with. Because for them, it's a different state of mind. Because they're receiving something from us. It's easier for a man to have sex with a woman and leave her alone. Because we're not receiving. They are. And so their connection, emotionally and physically, that they will have that we won't ever understand or experience. So there's a reason God said, only have sex with your wife, because you don't need all these women following you when you're trying to get to one that's supposed to be for you. And that's where a lot of us mess up. And we gotta know, the desire, the sexual desire that God designed is good. But He wants it within a construct to protect you from that kind of behavior. And look, bottom line is, a lot of men have messed up, had babies, here and there and everywhere, and are struggling financially because they decided to exercise their lust rather than keeping it under check. And then let me tell you, we all know sex feels good who have experienced it. But the problem is, many of us miss the fact that there's something tied to it. And there's a reason God said, have sex with just your wife, because you don't have all the baggage that goes along with having all the other women.
Most baby mama drama come because he can't have you no more. Oh yeah.
That's true.
And guess what? You get somebody, it's gonna be more drama. That's why we talked about making young people making choices that be careful, because you're gonna always have that woman. That attachment, that thought. You know, you wore a nice little fit, and you go in the closet, you put it up, you didn't put it in the cleaners yet, and all of a sudden you walk in there, and that smell of that woman is still on there, and you just, hey, that was a good time. You know, anything can spark a memory, and so we have to be very, very careful. And so when you say, well, you have to find, like Pastor Adams and Elder Calhoun said, you have to find men that you can look up. Now the church is supposed to be, I have older men here, the church is supposed to be the place for men to reach out to other men and boys to become men. We have neglected that. The generations before us taught men, taught boys how to hammer, how to build, how to paint. And now we don't have that. We don't have that generation. But that doesn't mean we need to complain about it. We need to take it back over and change that to a positive. So I'm not that old, but yet still, in your eye, I'm old. But I can no longer be the one receiving. I need to be the one now giving and giving to you.
Don't work like that, no.